Hello, everyone. Welcome to the December and last and final community meetup of 2025. Deep breath, exhale, and let's get through it together. And hopefully it'll be nice and fun. Um, we're going to start with the show and tell. We've got a few people who very kindly volunteered to share what they've been up to. It's a nice mix. We've got Jason and Maria talking about Norwich's new website, which went live a few weeks ago, I think. Um, Jayvik at Luton's going to talk about their beta launch, which I think was last week. So very, very hot. Mark Conroy is going to share what he's done for Tipperary on their public consultations. And Anusha is going to talk about Colchester's new website. And I think Mark is going to piggyback on that and share a little bit of work around images. And if we're very lucky, Dan Champion might join us and talk about Newark Castle microsite. He is currently in a meeting with Will, our product lead, and um, other people from Walsall who've paid for the latest work on elections, and they're just doing a sort of wrap-up call right now because it's Christmas and it's the last week of the year. Finding time was tricky, so this was the only slot. So I'm hoping if maybe we can kind of do some kind of magic wish, and Dan might join at 2:30. We shall see. I hope so because I like it when my dreams come true. Um, So we're going to then, after the community show and tell, we'll do some news, do a little roundup, hear what's been going on. There might be other websites that have gone live. There might be other jobs that people are offering and looking at, maybe some events in the future, etc., etc. And then if we've got time and everyone's up for it, I've put together a silly little quiz just to finish off the year. Um, there are no right answers, but there are definitely right answers. Whether the right answers are actually right, we shall find out. I feel like Mark and Finn might query a couple of my answers. We shall see. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to hand over to Jason and Maria, who are going to talk about Norwich's new website.
We
Okay,
are, I believe.
we are. Do you want me to screen share, Jason? Or
Oh, thank you.
yeah, why don't you
You
start
you know
talking? Who are
you
you,
know
Jason?
who am I? So I'm the digital UX lead at Norwich City Council. And we started our journey with our business case a very, very long time ago in January 2023. However, we, alongside our partners, Agile, started building our website at the tail end of last year. And as you alluded to earlier, Aaron, yeah, we went live on the 3rd of December. So the last 2 weeks have, of course, been completely frantic with lots of little tweaks and debugging. We adopted a phased approach. I think we just felt that was at the time a more sensible way to deliver the product with the amount of content we had on the old website. I think hindsight's a wonderful thing, and I possibly wouldn't do it that way if I was doing it again. But if anyone wants to ask about that outside of this or later, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, you're looking at the shiny new Christmas themed homepage for our new website. So we've tried to go for quite a clean, modern, but still visually appealing approach. It's probably a little bit heavy with links for services on the homepage for now, but I think it's a starting point. But I think we're exceptionally pleased with the product. We just think it's a very, very easy to use and engage with platform. We find the building of it incredibly easy. Sounds like I'm doing a sales pitch here, but for you, but I'm really not. But yeah, we did a lot of work initially, and it felt right to do so with research with our communities and our stakeholders and our partners and voluntary organizations, and looking at lots and lots of data we had at our disposals, and that helped us, I think, come with quite a clear sort of remit for what we wanted to achieve. and I'm pretty sure we have delivered everything we wanted to. I think there's still a lot to do. You know, we will be developing subsites a lot more in the new year, but certainly I think we're quite happy with the look and the feel and the feedback from customers we have had. You won't see it on the homepage because we've taken it off, but we have got a feedback banner on all pages of the website, and they've been reviewing that with the service areas on a daily basis. Next step for us, alongside all the development on the subsites, is going to be in the new year. Starting to reach out again to service areas. We want to go down a much more devolved content management system, and want to get service areas to take a lot more responsibility for what their content looks like and keeping up to date, because that was part of the problem with the old one. It got very bloated and out of date very quickly. So certainly from the top down, that is a view that is supported. So I'll probably take my time. Maria,
That's fine,
jump
Jason.
in.
I mean, it's in terms of local gov Drupal features, it's pretty much all of your classics. We've got service landing pages, sub landing pages, alert banners, guides, all of that stuff. I think we brought in publications, which Norwich have made great use of, and directories. We've got maybe I've got a few links.
We've
Some of
used a
those
few
things,
directories.
yeah, and brought in proximity searching and what have you recently. So
Clustering of results, that's a biggie when you've got a lot. Yeah, that's really good.
And this nice thing that Eeks did make, the boundaries on maps. So yeah, nothing too unexpected in that side. I think the most interesting learning really is around the phased approach, both technically. We used I won't go into the details of it, but entity share to do the kind of phased approach in terms of content, but also for Jason and his team, and actually like the real amount of effort that goes on in getting content ready in that way, and the sort of lots of spikes of anxiety around multiple launches, I suppose. So we did the first phase launch in June, I think it was. Is that right, Jason?
No, it was April. It was April, June, October, and December.
Okay, with just one main
Soft
service
launch,
and
yeah.
and a few other bits, and then adding more sections as we went. But I'm hoping we'll do maybe at local gov Drupal dev days, we'll do something specific around the technical stuff around using entity share and the let's go with gotchas, the go with doing it that way. Yeah, that's it, I think, for now. Is there anything else, any questions actually, or anything anybody would like to see?
Great, thanks, Maria. Thanks, Jason. Yeah, we'll take questions as we go rather than sort of at the end. Thank you for foreshadowing local gov Drupal dev days, Maria.
So sorry, was that a spoiler?
Yeah, that was a spoiler.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay, that's fine. It's nice. You can do that. So yeah, and it'd be good to do something on entity share for sure. There's a lot of around phased approaches, so that sounds great. Any questions for Jason and Maria? Jayvik. I thought Jayvik might have a question. Given where you are at in your journey, go for it.
No, mine was similar to Finn's really. So the search and what was the sort of thought, and how's it been so far, or performing?
So my camera guy,
Maria,
probably more for Maria anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and I started talking and was unmuted. So the hosting and deployment is all happening through Azure, which is fun, in inverted commas, and meant that we were restricted, so we couldn't use Solar, I believe, or it was going to be a lot harder to get there. But I think Adnan did some work to get proximity search working with database backend. So that is how it's working, and it does work. So that's part of directories. Proximity search is already there, available to be used. Was that the question?
Yeah, we might not have time to go into the detail, but have you got a link to see how that's working in practice, or is that not visible
In
yet?
the proximity search bit,
Yeah,
you can see that. Yeah.
Okay, just so people can have a look at what you're. Okay, Maria's put it in. Brilliant.
Yep.
Thank you. Cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria. Any other questions? I didn't see anything else in the chat. Did I see anything else? No. Cool. All right. If anything else comes up, then do drop it in the chat or jump in. I'm going to move on to the next one in our rapid show and tell. Anusha is going to go next, actually, Jayvik, just so you know, because she's got to drop off at 2:30. So just jiggled it around in real time.
Sorry.
I guess Mark, no problem. And I guess Mark, it'll make sense if you go after, just because I think what you're doing is sort of related. Anusha.
Sure. Yeah. Right. Afternoon, everyone. I'm Anusha Sivanraj. I work as a lead web developer at Colchester City Council, and glad to be joining the show and tell. And today is my last day before my leave, starting tomorrow, and it's been a very hectic last. I would say it's magical as well, because it's magical that we were able to bring up a new website for Colchester City Council in local gov Drupal just in 3 months. Can't believe that. Definitely it happened. Again, more applause to, again, Mark Confident, who is here, Mark Conroy, who helped us as well. So I'm just going to share my screen and then just, take it from there, and where we were before, where we are now, and what is our plan as well. And definitely so good. It's positive, going in all directions, which is good. So let me share my screen. Right. Yeah. I hope you can see my screen. Yeah. All good? Okay. Before I show the new website that's built in local gov Drupal, I just wanted to give you a quick flavor of a second. This is our current website, which is running in Microsoft Dynamics for years and years, which is, again, you might wonder, I know so many people will have a question, why Microsoft Dynamics for a content management content website? But that's a historic thing that we need to think about. So this is our current website, which you can see, and then again, we have got about 5,000 web pages and 2,800 PDFs. That's our current website, which is lack of accessibility, not compliant. And then I will switch it over to the new website, which you're seeing now, built in local gov Drupal. Just to touch upon our journey before I go into this website, I'm just laughing at this myself, where we joined local gov Drupal back in 2022, but ever since then, due to your internal changes and so many projects move in, move out, we were not actually implement the project. That's the right word I should use, even though we started the step. Then October, we started this project, developing the new website, which you're seeing now in local gov Drupal. We are actively working with Code Enigma, who are managing our AWS environment. And also, Mark is in the call. He's the developer and I would say the foundational, support behind this, where you can just see, especially I just would like to see, we went to the residents panel, collected so many comments, and also accumulated the feedback and ironed out most of the issues in the current website. Very clean buttons, and then the service is given the priority. And then also the news section is a lot more lifted. If I show your current news section, where it's very basic. Oh, sorry. Oh, we have done the redirect. So sorry. So it's not the great one. And then I would like to shift your focus to the new news website and stay for a minute. For example, on the left, we didn't have this category or the search options in Dynamics website, because it's like a lot of effort, and then it's not worth doing that. That was the problems we had as well. And this new website we launched it on the 1st of December. Can you imagine setting up this website, which we started only in October, and then it's really being welcomed by the residents and the councillors, and so far so good, the positive feedback. At the moment, we are still in the alpha state, like just collecting the feedback. So what we have done is we have also launched this planning website. Only one service area we have launched. I think definitely this is one of our most visited area in our website, in the previous old website as well. But this one is like very clean, very accessible. We are getting very good positive feedback from the residents as well, and also it's highly accessible. So apart from this website being, we had one other objective behind this project, which I would like to mention is we do have the in-house web team of 3 web developers and then 2 other content designers. I think also, so alongside Mark is doing the development, also we are getting upskilled. That is one of the key elements as well, where regularly every week we are having upskilling sessions with Mark. So Mark is giving us, taking us through because none of us have worked in Drupal before, honestly. We have only worked in WordPress and PHP based ones, but we're getting upskilled as well. So the key objective for the organization is the in-house web developers to get the grip on it, so that once Mark is, finished his primary jobs and everything, we can take over. So we are just working alongside Mark, and definitely the platform is great. And even today, the content designers, just before this meeting, I was in a meeting with content designers. They said they are finding it far easier to manage the content in LGD as opposed to Dynamics, where they have to spend more time. For example, 40% of the time in writing content, 60% time was wasted in the technicalities, but now it's kind of taken over 70-30 or something, 70 on content, 30. So that's kind of added efficiency for the organization as well. So what we are working on, this is only we have launched a 5% of our website. That's all I can say, but definitely positive. We have a long journey to go, rest of it, but we have like a roadmap. So we are planning to kind of move over all the pages and also do the PDFs accessible. And we have got so many plans in the next 6 to 7 months as well. So we are working actively on that. It's a very busy time, but definitely we have been dreaming to move our website, come away from Dynamics to a better sustainable platform. And I think we are on the right track now. We're so glad about that. And thanks, Mark, and thanks, Codening as well. I think, and yeah, wonderful things. And also we will involve ourselves in the other sessions and engage with other councils as well. And again, support each other. That's the main thing. Any questions? I stop sharing and come to the.
Lots of claps, etc., Anusha, and lots of comments about how I think a lot of people can't believe that it only took 3 months. So
yeah, of course, that's the
amazing.
thing. Oh, I couldn't see any of the claps or anything because I was sharing, but definitely I think that's what I said. Like it was very, very hectic, as Mark would say, but definitely kind of magical. That's the only word I can use, because how come? Because our website is huge, and also it's not about the development, right? It's just balancing the stakeholders, internal, external, and everything. And also I think the confidence in the platform, the confidence on Code Enigma, and confidence on Mark brought everything together. That's the main thing. Thank you so much. Yeah. And I'll hand it over to Mark. He can take over this thing.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Anusha. Sorry, my mother's not here to listen to all those compliments.
Mark, just hold on a second. Jayvik's got his hand up, which might be a question for Anusha, and then we'll come to Mark, who's going to share a little bit about images.
More than Anusha, really good to see, and good to hear about the developer sort of upskilling. And that was my question: is what's the one skill or one element that you've learned that you really value now or like?
You mean during the upskilling sessions?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, as I said, I worked in various technologies with my experience on a lead role, but Drupal, I would say 10 years ago, completely lost touch, because Drupal has come far, I think, ahead in the journey as well. But in my team, I manage the 3 web developers. They are completely new to Drupal. They are, and also we manage this website in Dynamics, and we manage other 30 websites in WordPress. But we are new. Even the developers are quite new to GitLab and GitHub and all of that as well, because the version control was not necessary in those websites. That's why it was never done. So to be honest, the experience level is on that. Expertise, it's less. But now I would say so far, we started the upskilling November and December. November, I think I would say we had about 6 or 7 upskilling sessions. So far, definitely the developers are enjoying. That's the first bit I would say, because they're learning new skills. and they're getting the confidence. When Mark started the first call, obviously it was like Greek and Latin to them, because it's Drupal is a completely, although you can connect to WordPress, but it's a bit different the way it's done. So I think definitely it's going well, and I'm confident to say that in 2 months' time we'll be in a better position. That's what I'm saying. So basically, what I'm trying to tell here is, even without Mark, we should be able to do the, for example, we should be able to, for example, a developer, I can give you straight away an example. All our transactional forms in Dynamics, we need a new template for a form start page and a success page, like a content template. But again, writing a new template in Drupal or local Drupal, it's very new to our developers. But Mark has trained us to this position where he's developing his template on his own, and he started writing, and also they're feeling comfortable now. So definitely we can see we are progressing in the right pace. I'm sure in 2 months' time, if I come to this show and tell, maybe I
No
can bring
worries.
my developers. They can just speak for themselves. I
Yeah,
think
no.
that's the
Happy to
answer.
catch
Of
up
course.
offline, but good to hear. Well
Yeah,
done.
yeah, definitely. I think that is one of the things where we just wanted to have that kind of an in-house capacity to manage and have control over it. So that's why the upskilling was one of the budgets we have allocated to this project as well. Yeah, that's all working very well. Yeah, thank you.
Fab. Thanks, Anisha. Nova, I think you had a question about the sort of the design approach in terms of search versus links. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So obviously I can see that you've got you're just sort of displaying 6 main services initially. So obviously you've got the show all services, but also you don't have any kind of, you haven't got like the top 3 tasks under each of those services. You haven't got the direct links to specific pages. Is that because you're trying to encourage like more people to use search rather than manual?
Don't mention search, please.
I will tell you, I'll split that question into 2. Number 1 is, we have intentionally not keeping the search in the new website. I'll tell you why. It's no problem with LGD. Don't underestimate it. The problem is with Dynamics in our current website. As I said, 5,000 web pages. At the moment, the website, it's not auto-indexing very well or whatever automatically. So we are doing manual updates. So if we are having a search in our new website, the residents are not going to understand whether it's a new website, old website. They want the search to function, pull data from both. Unfortunately, Mark said I can do it in a day or so, but he said, Anisha, are you ready to give me the index for the other website? I said, Mark, come on, don't put me on spot. So that is where we said, like, so unfortunately, so we have informed the residents not to use the search is coming soon, obviously. So number 2, one of your questions is, yes, we haven't kept the service links very clearly on the main homepage, because number 1 is kind of the way we have the service areas are structured, or legally working within Colchester Council is a bit different. And if you have to load service links, it will be a long list. So we would rather not do that, but actually want people to just go in straight and access the areas clearly. And we have got like about, let's say you're clicking onto planning, then you see another 6 areas where people see. We don't want to be showing all the links to them, because some residents may be interested in searching a planning application. Some people may be interested only the planning committee. Some may be interested in the planning guidance. So we have got a service sub landing page as well, if you see that. So that's the route we have taken instead of overloading various links in the homepage. So
so has that lengthened the time that it will take for people to find their page, because the page they're looking for, because it could be 3, 4, maybe more. I don't know how many levels it goes.
No,
in terms of clicks.
That's a very good point. But what we have, it's not going. Once the search is in place, it's not going to be a drawback. But number 2 is, we have done a strict governance and standards that there is only going to be 2 levels. When you click on planning, you see service sub landing. There is not going to be entire family of click. No, we are just saying service landing based sub landing, job done. That means this helps you. I have learned the lesson. This helps and tell the stakeholders that the number of pages should be less. We don't have to overload the residents. We need to reduce the number of pages. Otherwise, we are going to end up with the same 5,000 pages as I have in the current website.
Yeah,
and
we were on that number.
we are aiming for at least 60% reduction there, because that's what the
Wow.
business need, I think. I would say, but that is my dream. As Aaron
Yeah,
said, dreams
yeah.
always doesn't come true. That's my dream. But I think Essex County Council moved to local quadruple 2 years back, but they did a 47% reduction. So I'm aiming at least for a 40%. So I'll
Wow.
be in a better position to tell the stats, I think, in 3 or 4 months' time, a little bit more, I think.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for answering all my questions.
Thanks,
That's all right.
Nova. Thanks, Anisha. I'm going to keep us moving on so we get through the show and tell. Thank you very much, Anisha. Mark, do you want to do images on the sort of related to this project now,
Yep.
and then your public consultations?
Okay, look. So images. I'm not actually going to talk about Colchester City website itself as a project. It's just the idea of images. So at the core team stand up just before lunch, so only an hour ago, we were talking about two approaches to images, and one is what we have at the moment, which is called a manual crop approach, and then the other is what we're actually using in Colchester, which is called a focal point crop approach. So we thought, just while we have everybody here at the community meetup, we might kind of show a demo of both of those, and then people can maybe have a think about them. And after Christmas, we're going to start looking at maybe which one we might use as our default in local gov Drupal, or do we give options for both of them depending on who wants which. So I'm going to kind of just show how they both work and maybe benefits of both of them. So at the moment, say we've got here. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen, am I?
Not yet.
Share desktop. Okay. Now all the Zoom things are in my way. Okay, so this is on our demo site. So if I do anything, which I will, to the content, apologies. I know it'll reset itself tonight and get reinstalled. But looking at say this image here that we've got. So this isn't the original image. We've decided that on news pages we want images to be, I don't know, is it 3x2 or something like that. So we chop out a bit of the image to show a part of it. And what we currently do is that when you upload an image to our website, you get this new field down here called crop image. And then what we're telling editors is that if this image is used in any place on the website at a ratio of 16:9, what part of the image do you want to be shown? So you can move this up or down to where you want to show it, and you can move it in and out to say, this is exactly what I want. Every time it's across the website, it's a 16:9 crop on it. And we do the same then for other crop ratios we have, so 28:9 and 3:2 and so on. And this gives us great control. So editors can look at it and say, I know reliably that every time this image is shown as a crop of a 3x2, it's the lady's elbow that we're going to see, and it's not going to be something else. Or if this was a picture of some councillors, that we could move it up here, that we'll always see the councillors' faces rather than you see the councillors' bodies and their heads get chopped off in some teasers and things like that. So this gives us lots of control. But some editors have said that we don't understand what's happening here, but we don't understand what all these crops are. We don't understand where they get used. And that's, it's a fair criticism. So if you want this extra control, well, then we have it here. If you don't use it, we've got these kind of sensible defaults and fallbacks. So this is what we currently have. And this is what's called a manual crop approach. So you manually set what part of the image gets cropped depending on the aspect ratio of the image, whether it's a 1:1, like we see here with a square, or a 3:2, or whatever else it is. When that's done, then you can save that image. Let's actually go to, no, I'll just save it. You can save that image, and then Drupal will go off and make new versions of the image. So it's a new 16:9 version of the image and a new 3:2 version of the image, and so on. So if we refresh the news page, then this image will probably change. Okay, maybe I've cropped the exact same part maybe that we were using, but that image then could change. So the other approach we're looking at, which is very, very easy for, sorry, yes?
Sorry, I'm going to ask a stupid question. With those crops, the sort of 6 presets or something, are they used in different places? And so what you're doing is just sort of setting them, and then they'll be used in, on this a teaser here or on the main.
That's exactly it, yeah.
Page. Right, but you don't know.
That's exactly the problem. That's exactly where the confusion is. It's not clear from one place on the front end which crop affects it.
I think that what we don't maybe sell correctly to content designers is that you shouldn't worry about where the image is getting used. You should care that every time this image is shown anywhere on the website in a 3:2 ratio, this is what you want to be shown.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whether that's in a listing page, whether that's as related news at the bottom of a different news post, whether that's on a banner somewhere else, or whether that's in the search results. And that's more what we need to be selling, that what you see here when you're editing has got nothing got to do with where it gets positioned on the website. It's what would it look like if it's positioned using one of these styles. What we're looking at then, what we did with Colchester, now I hope this works. It's only on the dev version of the site, and it's only there since yesterday, so I can't show it on the live website. So I'm kind of banking on this working here. So if we look at, say, this center image here, it's got the word consultation, and I think it says public consultation on the top. I'm not sure. I think that's what it is on the top, or budget consultation maybe. But in any case, we've chopped off something, and we want a different part of the image to be the focal point of the image. So in this case, what we've done is that crop field that we had down here at the bottom is all gone. So now we get what's called a focal point crop. So if you can see this little crosshairs here, let me zoom in a little bit in case you can't. So this little crosshair here, you can click anywhere on the image, and that will become what's called the focal point of the image. So when we're creating a 3x2 image, we'll start off, and here's the center. So we should always have this part in focus. Now, I think this is very, very easy to understand, and content editors can see exactly, no matter where this image gets used, no matter what way it gets sliced up, it will always be sliced from this section here. The only thing is then we don't have as much control over, you might sometimes decide, like we saw on the other one, I want a specific part of I want two different parts of it depending on what crop it is. But let's have a quick look then. If we look at the Colchester homepage here now, so this image, if it works, should change. Okay, and now you can see that it crops from this section here. So we're going to start looking at that in the new year. The idea that, do we have a default will be focal point crop, or default will be manual crop, or do we want to have both available? And when you're installing the media suite for local Drupal, you decide. On our website, we want to use focal point, and on our somebody else's website, they want to use manual crop. So that's kind of, I think, something we'll start looking at maybe in more detail over January, and start maybe getting to implement it then over February or something like that.
Thanks, Mark. So,
any questions? I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, questions on that would be great. Hold the sort of more in-depth stuff. I think what we'll do is use the first content meetup of the year to sort of do a little bit more of a deep dive into this, and then, as Mark says, that can be sort of moved into dev. So that would be mid-Jan. Any questions on what Mark's demoed in terms of the images and focal and manual crop? Just checking there. Okay.
Just one kind of final comment, unless there are questions, is we're working on some better media tools as part of Drupal Canvas. So further down the line, there can be some more sophisticated cropping tools, but it's what do we have at the moment that we could use, and what would be best?
Mm-hmm. Cool, thanks, Teddy. Okay, looks like your show and tell was so comprehensive, Mark, but no one's got any questions. So, do you want to do public consultations?
I can move on to public consultation next.
Yeah,
so this is the thing I was supposed to talk about today. So chatting with my friends at It's a Long Way to Tipperary County Council. Yeah, for me it's not. It's actually just 2 miles down the road to get to Tipperary. They wanted to look at the idea of building a public consultations module, because at least in Ireland, every council needs to put up public consultations. So if we're going to build a new road, or we're going to build a new school, you need to allow people from the public to be consulted and to give their opinion that I agree with this, or I disagree with this, or why you do and why you don't. In Ireland, a lot of councils use a SaaS product, which, as it happens, was built on Drupal. So it's nice to know that it definitely can be done in Drupal. I don't know what they pay for that, but it's a license that you pay every year. Maybe, I think, between 10 and 20,000 per year. But again, I'm making up those numbers, but I don't think I'm wrong in saying it's somewhere within that ballpark. So we thought, why don't we kind of take the cost of a yearly license and put that into a public module, and let every Drupal website across the world use it. So we built Drupal.org/projects as public consultations. So anyone can come here now and download this module and use it. I won't get into the kind of feature sets and that, and you can click on the YouTube link here if you want to see it in action. But What we do with the module is, so I've come to extend, I've installed the module, and then we'll get a new content type called public consultation. And that's fine. Let's say, so we'll look at it in a moment, but we're using the web form module. So we come to structure here, we come to web forms, and we'll add a new web form. Now I'm going to add a very simple web form. So we'll call this community SNT. And on this web form, I'm going to add just 3 elements. So I'm going to add a text area, which could be called your thoughts, we'll say to you. I don't know why we fixed the spellings. It doesn't really matter if I spell it correctly or not for a demo. So your thoughts can be there. And then we'll say we'll add in a text field, which will be your name. And we'll add in an email field, which will be called your email. Okay, so that's a very simple web form. Let me save this and view it. We can see it's the same as any Drupal web form. After we have, let me move this onto the bottom. After we've created the web form, because we've installed the public consultations module, we can then click on the settings tab here. And if you scroll down to the very bottom of this page, we'll get these third-party settings, public consultation settings. So we can, if we switch this on to say that this is a public consultation web form, there's extra things that happen in the background then in terms of redactions and things like that. So we're going to switch that on, and we get this note here saying that because it's a public consultation, you probably want to allow anonymous users, so everybody, to view any submission from this web form. And you can do that at this link here at the access settings. So first off, we'll save this. Second, then we'll come to our access settings, and we're going to say that view any submissions. We'll click on anonymous users. Now, remember, this is kind of dangerous. We don't know what somebody is going to put into this public consultation submission, and we don't know how many times we're going to get sued for defamation or something like that when that happens. So let's have a little look then at the form again. We'll come back to the build step, and we've got 3 fields. We've got a your name field. So let's edit this now. And when we do, we have on this access tab, we get a new feature down at the bottom called the redaction settings. So what we're going to say is that the name field is always redacted, no matter what they put in. If they put in their actual name like Mark Conroy, or they put in some fake person's name or whatever, we're always going to redact that. But we'll see in the back end, the content editors will know what the name is. And we'd say the same with, say, an email field. That should also be redacted. So we click the access, and we'll say the email gets redacted. So we have someone's email address if we need to reply to them, but we're not showing people on the front end what it is. And then your thoughts field, well, we'll leave that as the default, which is visible. And we've got another one here called hidden. So we added the hidden one because there might be some fields you want someone to fill in, but you will never show on the front end the answer to that field. And that's an example of, say, if you were to upload a file, well, the file won't be redacted. So we have a hidden here field here. You can upload the file, the editors can see the file, and they can download that file, redact the file, and then we'll have a second file field where they can upload the redacted version of the file, and that's the version that we'll make visible to site visitors. So that's our 3 fields. After that, then we'll say make the web form as complex as you want. We'll just keep it simple: your name, your email address, and your thoughts. When you've that done, then we can add content. So we're going to add a public consultation. And this is going to be a community SNT. The start date, let's say it started on the 1st of December at 9 o'clock in the morning, and it's going to end, we'll say it's going to end next Monday at 5 o'clock in the evening. Now we put in some details about the consultation. I'll just copy in whatever Latin text. And then we choose what web form gets attached to this public consultation. So we'll say the community SNT web form is getting attached to it. And I'll save it. Now, because the consultation is closing in less than 7 days, we'll get this ending now, right? Ending soon banner. And that's configurable. You can come to configuration and I don't know where it is actually, web services or I can't remember, content. Somewhere in here, I've put, there it is, yeah, content authoring, public consultation settings. So you can say that will show up if it's closed within 7 days or closed within 14 days or whatever you want. They're all configurable. If you came back and we said that it's the closing date was yesterday, then we get a little black banner to say that it's already closed. And if the closing date is more than 7 days in the future, well, then it just stays like a standard Drupal field. Now, let's have a look at this consultation if I was logged out of the website. So I'm an anonymous user and I'm looking at this and I'm going to say that my name is Mark Conroy, my email address is mark@mark.ie, and I'm going to say, I fucking love this. And we might not want a curse in the middle of it, okay? So somebody's going to submit this form. And let's come back to here, and I just want to open the, 1 second, the submissions tab. So submissions. So what's happened is that the form goes into the back end, but it gets a note. The submission is currently under review. We're going to make it ready for public display. So now what we can do is the content editors can come to the web forms. We look at the community show and tell form. We can see the results of it. And we can see there's been one submission. And that submission is this one here. So we can click edit. And we get the option now to, we don't need to redact this first name or the name and the email because that's redacted across the whole form. We set that. But this here, we don't want to have the word fucking in this, or we don't want to say like, I like this idea, but I once saw Mark Conroy dealing drugs in the park. You know, that kind of stuff wouldn't wash for our, I don't think, for our public consultations. So we can put in PC redacted, as in public consultation redacted, and end PC redacted. And then we can, if we're happy with all that, then we can click this button here. This is ready for public display. And you click save. Now, if we come and look at the submissions, we'll see that we've redacted the name, we've redacted the email, and we've left in where it says I, and we've left in love this, but we redacted the things that might be putting us into legal trouble. If we have more than one submission, then we get a little pager here at the bottom so we can flick through the different submissions. So what it means is that the public will always be able to see for transparency how many submissions were received, even though they might not see some of the information, or they might not see any of the information, or they might see all of the information. And then if you're on the actual public consultation itself, we've built, I won't go and show it now, but we've built a block that you can put into the sidebar over here, and all of the submissions then will go into the sidebar. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. We think it's a pretty good, pretty strong base system for running public consultations in any Drupal website rather than just local gov Drupal websites.
Amazing, Mark. Thank you. And I think you've made Community Meetup history with the first cuss word. History, so thank you for that.
It's probably not the first time I've cursed here.
So I think just because of time, I'm going to move us straight on to Jayvik. And if you've got questions for Mark on the public consultations, drop it in the chat, and he's very good at chatting in the chat. Thanks very much. Jayvik, hello.
Hey, how's it all going? All good, all good. Can you hear me? Yeah, good.
Yeah, all good.
Okay, cool. I will try and stick to a 5-minute timer, so hopefully you guys can see my screen if I share it. Let me know if you can see that. Yeah.
Just loading for me.
Yeah.
Yep, that's up.
Yeah.
And you're
all good. Excellent.
Floating. Yeah.
And you got my floating head, so that's okay. This is what I like. Okay, so yes, I'm Jayvik. Been at Luton Council for about 6 months. We've got a project to move to a LGD website platform. Our current website, as you can see here, runs off actually SharePoint 2016. So another Microsoft legacy product, which shouldn't really. I think it might have been used for an external website, but we obviously moving beyond that now. So we recently went live with our public beta, or we're calling it public preview. Just from a layman's point of view, is to the end user, just beta might not resonate, or they might not know what that means. So try to keep it simple terms for them. So our public preview is focused on 2 sections: council tax and benefits. How we came about on which sections to go out first is sort of more in detail in the Community LGD week talk that I did, so it's on YouTube, so go check that out. But what I want to dive into is actually sort of the changes that we did. So this is our old site, and to actually change it, I'm going to take it from a user point of view. About 70% of our website comes from mobile traffic, so for me that's always been the key thing with Anatech that we're working with is, you know, build from that ground up. So if I dive into council tax, obviously we've installed CookieBot as our CMP, but this is what the Luton Council website will start to look like now. So we've focused on key features that I want to get across in public preview, which was one was translate, and the second was the sort of the look and feel of it. Luton has over sort of 150 languages, or first languages aren't English, so translation is a massive aspect, a massive appetite within the community as well as internally. So it's good to test that sort of touch point out with users, and we'll obviously look at our heat mapping on Clarity and Google Analytics to see how they do. But we've kind of worked with Anatech and external content designers to kind of just make it simpler, make that kind of UCD principle of keeping it, always think about what do they need, sort of a one action on one key primary action on page. We've used predominantly most of the service templates, page templates, so your service landing pages, sub landing pages. We've got a few guides, and the public beta had, you know, a kind of a big moment internally because it's visibly to the residents. It's the first sort of, hey, you know, look what Luton are doing here. So, you know, I had to do quite a few show and tells internally. You know, there's obviously working with the service teams, but also had a session with the councillors one evening to take them through their sort of their thoughts and plans and their feedback. But, you know, is more as an awareness rather than as a sign off. So we launched 10th, when is it? Yes, 10th, so last Wednesday, and our plan is to hopefully add more to the sort of the public preview area. So hopefully we have parking or bins, waste recycling, then parking, and then work on the kind of key sections that are sort of been discussed for the roadmap, with the aim of going to our full transition by the end of March. I'll pause then and open for any questions.
Thanks, Jayvik. I just thought I'd look back to the Norwich one at the beginning around, because you're doing a staged approach, a phased approach as well. And how are you managing that sort of phased approach in terms of getting the next sections ready?
Yeah.
Yes. And are you using things like entity share or sort of, you know, moving from a staging site into a live site? How are you doing that?
So we're doing quite rapidly. So we've got no entity share. We've kind of just gone go. So we work with the service teams. We sort of have a kickoff call. We Ben and Steph, who are probably well known in the LGD community, they're the content designers. So they just work on the production environment. They look at all content, create it, work with my sort of the team in at Luton, so my team digital services, which Nova's a part of. So Nova's currently working on the housing section with Steph, and then we have what we're doing with each service is basically got a Teams chat, so like an open virtual round table, and everyone's that relevant to that service, or hopefully try to, you know, minimize the chefs in the kitchen. But if we can get one or two SMEs plus Ben and Steph, and obviously say support from DST, we kind of say, okay, in this sprint of 3 weeks or 2 weeks, we're just going to churn out and reduce what we've got. The appetite internally is to pretty much, you know, have a reset button, and a bit like what Anushka said, you know, our pages weren't as big as numbers as that. You know, we've got about 2.2 2,200 pages. My aim is to get it definitely to 3 figures, so ideally under 350 or ideally under 500. So it's just going through that open collaboration, instant team chats, instant sort of, you know, we're working on it, the train's already moving, so jump on board, and then we just have a call at the end of that, say, sprint, and then say, look, we present them back and then go through, okay, this is what it looks like. But now we've got council tax and benefits live. It's just made it a bit easier to be able to visualize, oh, this is what you mean, and this is what the sort of flow and design will look like. So this was the pivotal to start everything else off.
Nice. Fantastic. Well done. Good luck.
No worries. Thank you.
Well done. Okay. I think, again, just because we're running up against time a bit, if you've got questions for Jayvik on what he was sharing there, drop it in the chat and he will pick that up, I think. And we have my wish has come true, and Dan Champion is on the call now. which is very nice, Dan. You didn't hear my comment earlier.
Thank you, Aaron.
And you're going to talk about Newark Castle microsite, I think.
Yeah, very quickly, if I can find my window. Which hopefully you can see.
Yes.
Let me just move my. Okay, so this is the new Newark Castle microsite, developed for Newark and Sherwood District Council. It was designed in-house. Shout out to Emma and Jess and everyone else who worked on the site there. I really just want to share a couple of things about this because we were asked how we did it. The first thing is we've replaced, and accessibility and all other considerations notwithstanding, there was a requirement to have a slider on this site. So we implemented the slider. I'm just going to flick over to the editing for this page. So we extended the local gov Drupal microsites banner to have an option for banner slider, as well as the banner primary and the banner secondary. So I don't know whether to say this or not. If we're happy to share that, if anyone wants an accessible as it can be slider on their site, because this was a brochure site, it was a requirement that we needed to implement. For a microsite, it was quite heavily designed. As you can see, it's slightly more design rich than the microsites is out of the box. So to accommodate that within budget and to make it flexible enough for editors, for example, these characters, these kind of Gothic, medieval characters that appear as backgrounds, we did a very simple thing. So I'm going to take this plan your day section as an example. Basically, all we did, I'm just going to scroll down to the section, the plan your day section. We've got two sections here, actually. We've got a section for the header and a section for the teasers. So in the page section, we added a field called class, section class. And in this, the editor can enter or copy and paste from a reference document a load of classes, and those classes. So here we've got, now I called it a chicken fish. I don't know if it's a chicken fish, but it looked like a chicken fish to me. So we've got, this is going to have a background character applied. It's going to be chicken fish, and it's going to sit in the bottom right of this section. Now, because the section is just this title, this is how it's rendered on screen. They have the option to place these left or right. They have the option to place it below in a space of its own. Similarly, for the teasers, it's got this nice background. Further down, we've got teasers with a different style of background and a different style of teaser theming. If I go back to my editor, so to plan your day teasers, this page section also got that classes field. And we basically we can style the teasers by giving it the accent color, and we use accent hearts for the background, and that's what determines the typography color, the background color of these teasers, and the background image that's used. So that really is my lightning talk for this section. We really just wanted to share what we did to make it reasonably simple for editors. It would be nice if they had a drop-down menu, or they could add a nicer interface for adding and removing, but for the client requirements, this was the quickest and easiest solution. So yeah, and I encourage you to visit the website and visit Newark Castle if you can. It looks fantastic. Out of my woods, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trek for us, isn't it? That was very neat. Yeah, very neat little way of dealing with that. I think there was a bit of interest in the slider, as it does come up a fair amount. Will was saying, yeah, it'd be interesting to look at how to bring that into LGD, well, into microsites, I guess. And I think Andy has a question. With microsites, can you have separate paragraphs / paragraph configuration per microsite? I don't know if you can answer that, but someone might.
I don't think you can.
Not yet. No.
Out of the box, no.
So that's something that now exists across any other. If you set up a new microsite for Newark on that microsite sort of stack.
Yeah, but it's a fairly benign field. It won't actually people can put stuff in it in other microsites, and it won't have any impact unless we set up those classes as developers. So I think I saw some chat on Slack a while back about the dangers of user generated CSS or user submitted CSS, but this is kind of a halfway house.
Nice. Mark, you've unmuted.
No, I was going to say briefly, Dan, what I like about that is that even though that field is available across other microsites, the visual representation of the classes you put in there could be different. You could still use acts and teasers in any of the microsites, but depending on each team, that would be different, and that's a nice scalable way of doing it. I think it's a great solution that you have there.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, so we could use LGD microsite variables that vary across each microsite, but have the same classes to apply those. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dan. Very neat. Any questions for Dan? Any other questions? I didn't see anything else in the chat. Cool. And just it's always important with these things to reference the shouldiuseacarousel.com. I saw that coming up on the Drupal UK Slack just the other day. There was a whole thread that took me about 5 minutes to read on that. So if you've not come across that website and this comes up and you wonder about it, that is a useful thing to reference. Finn's just reposted it. Yeah, thanks, Finn. Okay.
People will build these things, so it's great if we can contribute when we've done a lot of work to make them accessible so they can be as good as they can be. So
yeah,
looks really good, Dan.
Yeah,
thanks, Tony. And I just to reiterate what Tony said, if we can contribute this back and make it as accessible as possible, at least then if someone insists on having one of these, it is the best we can make it.